Okay, guys. Um, let's see. Is my mic working fine? Yeah. Okay. So welcome back, everyone. And yeah, we are back with the last match for the day. And uh, yeah, to right next to me, welcome to my co-commentator for the evening. It's the Four Queens champion that you guys saw just a couple of weeks ago. Welcome to Lauren Willenberg. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, thanks, Calvin, for having me.
Uh, so yeah, we're having everybody on the show. Lauren, of course, Robin's sister, and the the co-founders of the PC30 is Lorenzo and Craig. So it's good to have everybody on board, and of course, welcome back to Daniel and Henry. Welcome, guys.
Come on.
All right. So the position that you see right now is just some analyzing we did of the last match. This was Craig versus Watu. And Craig won that one. So Craig has got 3 in a row, just like Lauren did in her tournament. Both of them getting the first 3 points in a row. So great start for Craig. And Watu had a tough one, half out of 3, I think, for the day. Like I said, I will have to update the scores by the end of the day. Tomorrow you'll see the updated scores. And Daniel still needs to get on the scoreboard. And Henry is on 1.5. So both of these guys all to play for. And so let's create a new position. I think I'm just going to say ahead of time I'm going to press twice. So 1, 2. Have you guys seen this position before?
No.
Okay, I'm happy with it. Usually we saw the queen on the queen side today, so yeah. That's the position. If you are new to the show, it is 15 minutes with a 15-second increment. Daniel Barrish has got the white pieces, Henry Steele has got the black pieces, and yeah, this is the last match of the day. So when you guys are ready, you can mute your computers, and Daniel, you can start playing whenever you are ready. So yeah. So let's hope they can't hear us. So yeah, Lauren, how are you doing? How is it? Does it feel to be the Four Queens champion? And what do you do? The question is, how is your life after winning Four Queens?
Well, I think it was a great way to end the year 2020, given that there were so many things, so many negative things happening in the entire world in
Yes.
2020. So I think that was a great way to end. It was like the climax of the year. And afterwards, I think now I'm just going to coach Craig. So that's what I'm going to
Yes.
do with my career.
Seems like he's doing good right now. The guy's leading the field, so looks like you guys are making a great PC30 team. Um, so, um, D4, D5, C4 on the board looks like a Queen's Gambit yet again. My question to you, Lauren, what's the secret? How should you start off the game? I've been asking everybody. Are there any general, okay, all of us know the general principles of chess, develop, center, and so on. Is there something special you add to your principles, or is it just game for game, analyzing, calculating?
Well, of course, we've got to do game for game calculation. All the positions are very different. But I think for me, it's just making sure that I've got control of the center or the flat that I'm able to undermine the center in some kind of way. And then yeah, this time control stuff when we played this tournament, because we spent quite a bit of time in the opening just trying to figure out what we want to do with our pieces, because especially in this position here with the queen closer to the edge of the board,
Yeah.
sometimes it's difficult to get the queen out and trying to castle without damaging your pawn structure.
Yes.
So definitely game for game, but I think center and piece activity, probably those are the things that I'm looking at.
Okay, so some basic general principles you stick to, and that's that. So it makes sense to me. Just a question: what about your dragon bishops? Get them out quickly or not?
I just want to know that they've got scope. So they need to
So
have scope, whether they're sitting at home or whether I bring them out, they just need some scope.
David Gluckman also mentioned earlier on just planning where to develop them, and planning for your knights is important at the beginning. So yeah, a lot of planning needed, especially because we don't know these new positions that well, especially with the fresh dragon bishops involved as well. So something interesting happened here. Pawn to c5 after e6 and b6. So Barrish trying to close the position. Henry trying to break down the pawns, and Barrish responded with dragon to b3, protecting c5 even more. So Barrish playing dragon to b3 in 2 games already. Just some deja vu from my side. But yeah, the big question is how to get that queen out if you are planning on castling as well. So maybe f6 or something eventually, or g6.
Yeah. It's quite interesting that it pushed past the what?
The dragon on b3.
No, I'm talking about C5 playing C5. Quite interesting.
Oh yeah. Henry taking on c5.
Yeah.
So maybe he's planning after dragon takes c5 to play knight d7 and just say, okay, you're gonna have to bounce back.
Mm.
And that's what happens. Knight d7 is played. You could go dragon to a4, dragon to d3, even dragon back to b3, or a3 even. Lots of options. And it seems like Barrish is in love with that b3 square for his dragon bishop, so he goes back to it. But it seems like he lost a bit of time though. Maybe black can even just play queen f8 now. Queen f8 and queen out somewhere.
Yeah, I think he lost a bit of tempo there. So Calvin, you also play some PC30. What is your thoughts on the beginning positions? How do you go about them?
Well, I've been discussing this with quite a lot of viewers, asking them, or commentators asking them for their opinion. I've got also just general principles of chess, but I also say that maybe you shouldn't get your dragon bishops out too early or too far, because they're quite valuable. So I like what David said about planning where to get your dragon bishops out and your knights. Don't create uh, huge holes with your pawns quite early on. So keep your pawns flexible. Um, yeah, that's about it. So don't get your dragon bishops out early and plan how to develop them and the knights. Um, and I've seen the trend from the last tournament of c3 and f3 and just trying to build a big center is also popular. And the other one of just breaking in the center with e4 and knight takes e4 or d4 and knight takes d4 seems to be a popular way to go as well. So yeah, I think those are the ones that I would say. And the dragon bishop, I consider 6 points to 6.5, but in the 2 games ago, we saw the 2 knights being stronger than the dragon bishop in the specific situation. So it varies
Yeah.
depending on the position, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's a static value for the dragon bishops as yet.
Yes. So it's crazy. Even the knights can improve. Some people in the chat box said the knights are 4 points. And David also mentioned the queen can be less than 9. So
No, no,
definitely, yeah.
especially that knight's on an outpost somewhere. You can't play it with a bishop. It's a bit
Yes.
difficult.
Okay, so Henry's taking his time here, trying to figure out how to develop.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If you get your development or your structure wrong from the get-go, you struggle the whole game through. So I suppose this is the critical moment happens right in the beginning of the game.
Yes. Dragon to a6 being played. Dragon from c8 to a6. So developing the dragon bishop on a dangerous looking diagonal perhaps. And pawn to f3 played, opening up for the queen. I think it's very logical by Daniel. What are we going to see? Are we going to see? Okay, so f3 at least stops c5 for the moment as well, because c5 for a moment seemed quite interesting. I would go queen e7 and castle, but sometimes that can be a bit slow. Okay, so I think e4 was the last move, so black needs to decide. What do you do here? Do you just leave it? Do you protect d5? Do you take? What would you do?
I don't know. I'm trying to get a feel for this game. It seems much lighter than all the other ones of today.
Yeah, it seems a bit slowish.
Yeah.
Dragon to c6 eventually played. Bolstering the d5 square, getting out another dragon. Makes sense. Okay, the c pawn is blocked, but dragon on c6 can move whenever it wants to.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have moved here for white. Oh, white played knight to c3. Okay, just covering e4, and black now in turn played queen to b4. Queen is aggressively placed. a3 is not possible to chase the queen because the dragon bishop on b3 will hang. D4 is kind of hanging as well because the dragon bishop on b3 is not protecting d4 for the moment. So Henry coming out quickly, and of course he can castle next as well. So how do we defend d4? Can we defend d4?
See, this is the thing. Black is way ahead in development as well. So
Yeah. It's very awkward for white. How to defend d4? I don't think he can unless... Okay, he can't even move the knight on c3. Might be quite a strong move.
D pawn with, black's D pawn.
Black's... Say again? D pawn.
I just tried to do it
To take on... Oh,
because that dragon has to D4.
okay, I missed you there, Lauren. What are you suggesting white does?
I'm saying if black is attacking the d4 pawn with his dragon on c6. So
Yes.
that dragon on c6 is defending the d5 pawn. So something like that also maybe.
Yeah, so there is some pressure on d5 as well that we need to keep into consideration. So if black does capture on d4, queen takes and dragon takes d4, then pawn takes d5 can recollect the pawn on d5. So maybe white should just play knight d2 or something and say, okay, you can take what I'm going to develop on. And if you take on d4, I can take on d5. Even if you play dragon takes b3 afterwards, he can play a takes b3, and then the dragon on a6 will be hanging with the rook on a1. So maybe the way to go, yeah, maybe knight d2 or something, or dragon d2.
And that even has possibilities, because that queen is a bit
Yes.
uncomfortable there.
Yeah, knight d2 for a3. So pawn takes d5 played immediately. So can we play dragon takes d5? Or it doesn't really look that great to do that. Yeah, because then we lose grip of d4 and we can't even take.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe just pawn takes pawn.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay. So Henry goes ahead and plays dragon takes d4.
Yeah.
Wow, things are heating up here. Now Barrish has decided to play pawn takes e6, letting the queen hang. But of course, he can take on d7 with check. Yeah, I can't hear you too clearly, Lauren. I don't know if it's the Zoom or what. What happened?
Can you hear me now?
Ah, yeah, that's much better. Much better.
Okay.
Okay, so... Okay, but black can, I guess, play knight takes e6 if he really wants to. Just keep everything together or what? Just to stop that threat of taking on d7. The queen is still hanging. The knight on d8 wanted to develop anyway.
I think after knight takes, I suppose then white has knight e3 maybe, then the queen's not hanging anymore.
Knight to e3.
Yeah, it's not very comfortable, but
Looks a
you
bit
just your
awkward,
queen's
yeah.
not hanging.
So I would go for that, but Henry is surprising me again. Instead of taking on e6, he just simply castles. Okay. So it's the same idea. You don't want to give the knight with check, so pawn takes. But can't you just take the knight now, d7, and give up the queen? But the problem is the white king is in the center.
Yeah, so I think he wants to get his pieces in as quick as possible. And
Yeah.
also those dragons are just keeping the king in the center there as well for white. So I think just more pieces is nice.
So Rosemoon says dragon takes queen. Oh, instead of castling perhaps, but then white would maybe play pawn takes knight on d7 check and then play rook takes dragon on g1. Maybe that. Still, the king feels a bit uncomfortable in the center, but if white could get away with that, then the material will be fine. But very interesting stuff here by Henry castling instead, giving Daniel more to think about. So what should Daniel do? Knight e3 anyway? I guess that's the only move, yeah. Or can you play... If only... Yeah, okay, so pawn takes d7 is played. Okay, that's another option. I was thinking about taking the dragon and then taking on d7, but this also makes sense. Because luckily the pawn on d7 is covering the e8 square, so there's no check yet.
Yeah.
Banji
I think
was...
taking on d
Yeah, go ahead.
because then at least you know you're going to get a knight and a dragon. But if you know, so because this queen is just horrible moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And but the thing is, how do you get your king safe? Banji was saying pawn takes pawn and then knight e3. But okay. The queen gets taken. Rook takes dragon bishop. And yeah. So what's the material looking like now? White has got a knight and a dragon for a queen. A knight, a dragon, and a pawn, because that d7 pawn is still alive.
And the king's in the center, eh?
Yes, I think that's one of probably Black's biggest positive thing here. Is White gonna be able to long castle? Is there time? Queen e7 check?
I don't think Black's gonna allow white to castle. And I don't know if castling would be much safer anyway.
Uh-huh. So yeah, that's gonna be a big problem for Barrish the whole way through. Knight to c6 is played, just casually developing.
Mm.
So maybe Black wants to play rook d8 and rook takes d7 instead of giving the queen that job. Dragon to d2, I guess. So king is gonna have to run towards the queen side, either long castle or king d1, and but the knight is going to the black knight is going to d4 as well at some point. Maybe even immediately.
Yes, I've noticed that king safety plays a bigger role than material here in
Yes,
CC30 as a whole.
and that's the main factor here. Barrish is actually fine if you count the material, but his king is just in a mess.
Yeah.
So knight e3. There's no rook on e8 yet. Can Barrish... Oof, okay, I was gonna say dragon to c2 and long castle, but I think knight to d4 immediately could be problematic. On the other hand, white could throw in a knight to d5 maybe.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That pawn on d7 is actually quite nice because it's
Yes,
stopping anything on the file for.
yes, it's quite important right now that it's still alive. And knight to e5 is played. Looking at the d3 square, as Zuga says, a dragon to d2 maybe. Yeah, just developing. Is okay. So Henry is threatening knight d3 check, I suppose. How are we gonna stop this? I don't know if you can stop it.
He's going to make sure that he can't castle.
Yes. It was so difficult to find a move here for white's dragon to c2 perhaps. Dragon to c2, knight d3 check, king d2. But then knight takes b2 is even possible. Panji says dragon to c2 as well. Definitely not the one of the quiet games here in this event. We've seen some positional games, some end games. It's definitely a lot faster. The pace has picked up in this game. So Banji says dragon 3 to c2, hitting h7. Whew, I don't know if that is gonna... Okay, but you're covering the d3 square as well, at least. But queen takes b2. Okay, but the queen is still not gonna take the knight because the knight will be covered. But the rook will be hanging.
The rook will be hanging, yeah.
If you take on h7. Yeah, I think Daniel's got a lot to figure out. He's got 2 extra minutes though. Chat box says bishop 1 dragon needs to come out. Yes, that's the main problem. It seems like Daniel wanted to play dragon to c2 now. 3 to c2, but he hesitated.
I agree with the vision to go over it. The dragon e4 seems a bit active.
Yeah, it does seem like a nice square, the e4 square. Yeah, and then after knight d3 check, you can still go king d2 at least. Maybe that's the best way to go. Just try to stay active.
I think white's got to create something because I don't know if defending is going to be the best way.
Yeah. Defending the whole way through is definitely not gonna work a whole game.
But I saw Daniel was considering dragon on 3 to go to c2. So let's see.
Time is equalizing up. And then knight ed5, yeah, the knights must at least... We spoke about knight ed5 earlier. It should probably happen soon, yes. Probably dragon e4, then aim for knight ed5, yes. And Barrish is taking his time now. He's in a difficult situation. Probably critical moment for him too. try and stay in the game. As Vision is saying, then it seems like he has enough for the open king. If the open king can survive, it seems like enough. It's all about surviving this middle game now. So you need to get that A1 rook into the game as well. But yeah, it's all about whether or not the white king is going to get mated or not. Knight e5 played immediately. So, I mean, it makes kind of sense. Because if knight d3 check and king d2, then the queen will still be hanging as well. So, yeah. And yeah, Switzerland Guzuka says that d7 pawn is a beauty. Yeah, it's helping a lot here for the defense. Banji says queen h4 check. Queen h4 check. If g3, then queen takes h2. Ouch. So queen h4 check. White might have to consider king to d1. But even after queen takes h2, how are we gonna... The rook is then hanging. Now queen h4 looks like a nice move. Queen h4 check. King d2 is also suggested in the chat box, but then... Yeah, if queen takes h2, then we can develop the dragon bishop on b1 at least, and the rooks are protecting each other, but this knight c4 check is also in the air.
But even if the rook wouldn't really be hanging, because you can just take on h7 with the dragon and pick up the queen.
Ah, okay, nice. So maybe you don't need to worry about that. So queen h4 is finally played. Banji is saying queen f2 perhaps, and then queen takes g1, but still that tactic is in the air. Even though you'll be losing a rook and a dragon for the queen, but at least you're getting something for it.
Getting out of a bind as well.
Yeah.
I feel like this queen is in a lot of problems.
Yeah. So perhaps that's still decent. I think white will only be an exchange down then, so. But yeah, this is again a tough moment here for Daniel. King d2, king d1. Like, I don't want to play king d1, but after queen takes h2, it's just problematic. So king d2 seems to be the move, but then there's queen f2 check and there's knight c4 check. What do you do after knight c4 check? King d2, knight c4 check. I don't know about you. I think Daniel is in big trouble here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel deciding king d1 is the safer option. Sure. And Henry is terrorizing the white king. He has just played queen to d4 check. And this may be the better move actually, because he's just going to pick up the rook.
Yeah.
But still, there's this tactic that you were talking about. But where do you put the king? No, you can't move the king. The king will be blocking the dragon on b1.
Yeah. And if you square, checking the king there with the dragon, perhaps.
Yes, so king c2
Checking
doesn't even look nice. I think it's gonna be over soon.
Yeah.
What do you have? You have nothing. King c1, but queen takes g1 check. Should be over.
I think development was a problem here for white. I
Mm.
think you should have played the dragon e4 earlier instead of knight to d5, I think.
Mm. Yeah,
Well, not
that's...
winning, but I think maybe it could have been a bit better development-wise.
Ah, okay, no, but still. Okay, he blocked with a dragon. I forgot about that move. But queen takes g1, and then he snaps off the rook with check. Other rook seems like it's gonna drop as well,
Yeah.
unless you play dragon to e1. But yeah, the game should be over soon. But yeah, it's like you said, Lauren, the king safety and the development is important.
You can't even go king c2. Can't do
Yeah.
anything really.
So it seems like this is really tough. This is really hard for Daniel. He might just go home today with 0. And Henry, on the other hand, will be, if he wins this one, will be half a point behind Craig. So then the two of them will be taking the front seats in this event. Watu is also just on a half. So Watu and Barrish then will be trying to shake each other off for third place or better. Banji says knight d3. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's game over, eh? Still getting a dragon as well. Just using the pin. Knight d3 is played. And I don't think this game is gonna continue for much longer.
Yeah.
Daniel still played king to d2. And I'm expecting knight takes. I don't know if there's any other dragon tactics here. Lauren, you good with him. But I'll just snap the dragon. Okay, that's what Henry does. He just snaps off the dragon.
Right.
Rook takes e1.
Hey, but it's playing on is worth something because as time goes on and if you still have dragons on the board, things get tricky.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah. I would say never resign in PC30.
As long as you got a dragon on the board.
As long as you got a dragon, never
Okay.
resign.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'll agree. I mean, just moving around the dragon is fun. So. Okay, so queen takes a3 and knight e7 check. Barrish wants to squeeze in a check at least. King goes to h8. And Rosemoon says...
one square away from queening, so he's had something in the game.
Yeah, at least something. Rosemoon says, especially if you have a dragon law, our game. So yes, Rosemoon, of course, it was one of your opponents.
Yes.
So yeah, we remember there was up
There
and
was
down.
one
There was some...
late and I bluffed with my dragon, so it works sometimes.
Yeah. King to e1 played, and is there still anything left here for white?
No.
Maybe rook d8 or what? What should Henry do to just keep it clean? Yep, and rook a to d8 is played. And hey, Mr. Bombastic, welcome, Mr. Bombastic. He's raiding with a party of 19, it seems.
Wow.
Yes, so
welcome.
Thanks, Mr. Bombastic. Also a big fan of the variants. Very super cool guy. He's also, I always see him streaming different variants. So thanks so much for the raid, Mr. Bombastic. Welcome to the new viewers. We are close to the end of our first day of the Paradigm Kings tournament. It's of course our new fiery chess variant with the dragon bishops. You can see the bishops are red. They can move like bishops and kind of like knights. If you want to know more, you can also go onto the our YouTube channel, Calvin Class and Chess, and check out the lectures over there of that. Thank you so much. So kind of you, Mr. Bombastic. Hope you had a good stream and enjoy your day as well. So it's close to the end, like I said, of day one. And what's happening here? We see a queen sack. Queen takes e2. Yeah, and it's the end of the match, because after knight takes e2, the dragon drops on d5. So a flash there, a quick finish by Henry. Players, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, crazy game. This is what I saw in the first 4 Queens tournament that Lauren won. Lauren, would you do us the honors and ask the gentleman some questions? I'm sure you have some questions about the game.
Henry, how did you like manage to work out a strategy there for your opening? I think your dragon bishop on a6 was quite instrumental in the entire game.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about this c5 move by white. I don't know. It felt a little bit ambitious, maybe. Yeah, and then sort of, I mean, obviously Black's plan is to hit the c5 pawn and, if possible, to play c5 himself and just try to hit white center. And the way it happened, Daniel obviously didn't. He sort of played very principled and like tried to fight for an advantage as well with white. So the position opened up, but I think it just my pieces were sort of just better placed.
Yeah.
Maybe Daniel lost a bit of time there with dragon to b3 and dragon takes c5,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
had to go back to dragon to b3. So yeah. Okay, and Lauren, would you mind also if you want to ask a question to Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel, just I know you played knight to d5, but we were considering maybe developing that dragon bishop on b2, maybe to e4. Did you ever consider something like that, just to get it out?
Yeah. I think knight d5 is probably like definitely the final mistake, at least the final major mistake. I was looking into it, the problem was like knight d3 check was coming one way or another. I didn't know how to deal with it, so I was looking at dragon c2, but then b2 drops. So I don't know.
If he played dragon bishop to e4, my intention was actually to play dragon to d3 check and just exchange that dragon off on e4.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then maybe go in with a knight on d3 if possible. I don't know.
Okay.
Basically, I just want to try and pick up the d7 pawn.
Yeah. I thought the position was sort of interesting, at least for a while up. I mean, 95 is completely lost, but I think just before that, where I had the dragon bishop and a knight for the queen, I thought that was still sort of interesting. But obviously my king's in the center. Yeah, if I can stabilize in.
Yeah, so again, the king's safety was the biggest issue there and development. Very interesting game though, and yeah, tough one there for Daniel. So Henry, you well done. So you score an important victory to stay half a point behind the leader, which is Craig. Who is Craig? And Daniel, tough luck for today. It's been rough games, but you are only half a point behind Watu as well. So just to verbally confirm the scores, guys. So the leader of the event is Craig. He is on 3 out of 3. And then second is Henry with 2.5 out of 3. And then Watu is on 0.5 out of 3. And Daniel is on 0 out of 3. So tomorrow is a big day. I think pretty much most of the positions are up for grabs. It seems like technically, Daniel, you're gonna have to play for either joint first or at best or second and so on. But still, positions up for grabs. But the rest of the field, Watu is also gonna have to do a ripper tomorrow to catch up. But it looks like for now it is between Craig and Henry. But you never know what happens tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for this entertaining game, guys. Yeah, thank you to Lauren for joining us, the 4 Queens Paradigm Chess 30 champion. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you guys must also just check the YouTube channel. I'll be uploading everything in the next 2 days, and then you guys can check out Lauren as well, how she won this event with the top 4 female players playing as well. So yeah, thanks again, Lauren, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and good luck for the rest of the tournament, guys.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Henry.
Thanks.
And
Cheers.
everybody, we're starting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. again. So same program, same schedule. Press the follow button if you haven't done so, and join us in the chat box next time. Stay up to date. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks to the new followers, and see you guys tomorrow. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers.